Good evening, dandies. Welcome to Undetermined the Podcast.
We have a podcast called Undetermined the Podcast.
Yeah, I checked it out. I know a bunch of people on there.
Yeah, we do too.
Of course.
Some that you're very familiar with, I think.
Right, of course. It's a small world, the strange music we make and love.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sorry the other band members weren't available, but I've been in the band since 94. I could probably answer most questions.
What's the current... John, I'm not hearing you. Are you muted?
Oops, yep.
All right.
But yeah, Matt's in Kansas City. I'm in Columbia. Yeah. And well, we were trying to explain that we know the mutual PR guy. It's like it's going to be much harder for you to contact. Like they're literally in the same town. We've had Billy on the show. We've had Steve on the show. Yeah. So
cool.
I caught you guys a lot in around Springfield, though I didn't get to Kansas City much when I was younger and poor.
Oh, Springfield. We only went there once.
That once. Yeah.
And I used to use a chain to hold my kick drum place. I would wrap it from kick drum leg round back behind my seat and then to the other kick drum leg, and it was perfect. It would always stay exactly the same place. That club we played in Springfield had like a hole in the wall on the floor. And my chain went down into that.
Was it the Regency?
I was like, "Oh no, catch it!" And it was gone. So it's still there.
Probably.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I think it was the Regency.
Was it the Regency? That would not surprise me.
Yeah.
I saw part of the balcony fall one night. That was fun.
Yeah, that was always dicey.
Columbia, Missouri. That is the home of Bangkok Gardens.
Yes.
Our favorite Thai restaurant.
It is. It's the best one here, too.
We're all on the Wall of Flame.
Oh, are you? I'll have to check that out next time I go in.
It's been a while. I've done it a few times. I will never do it again.
Yeah, no.
That owner, dude, is so rad.
Yeah.
The first time we ever went there, he you guys a band, and then sat down at our table, and then we're we're eating our 10 hot, and he's like, "Are you sure you want to do this? This food's hot enough to weld a Mexican's butthole shut." He's just such a character. And then he told us his entire life story about traveling through Thailand and bringing his wife and her family back to Colombia. And it's legit. It's the most hot food I've ever had in my life. And there's no worse idea than eating a plate of the 10 hot and then going to play a show 45 minutes later. With your stomach,
stir all this up as much as I can. Yeah, using your core the whole time, just mixing that up. Yeah,
that's funny. I went to Bangkok City in Springfield, and the owner had pretty much the same story as that. That was interesting. But I was like a regular in there because it was really good. And he got fed up with me not using chopsticks, and he's like, "Dude, you've been coming in here enough. It is time." So he just gave me the whole tutorial on
you got to do it.
And I've remembered my lesson, and now I feel obligated anytime I have pad thai, especially.
Yeah, to use chopsticks.
What's your favorite pad thai in town in KC?
Oh man, I don't even know. There's a really
or just Thai in general.
I'm not sure in Kansas City what the best Thai is nowadays. I really like Lulu's.
Lulu's is good, yeah.
Lisa's nice. But there's a weird one further downtown. It's kind of behind the record bar a couple of blocks. And
okay,
I forget what the deal is, but it's basically not only a Thai restaurant, but also some other like Cambodian or something. And so they have a weird recipe for Thai food. And for some reason, whatever the primary herb is, the whole Thai food is like red.
Mhm.
And it doesn't taste like normal Thai food, but it was really good. But I can't recall the name. I'm sorry.
I found I found a weird recipe and I had to try it on how to like pad thai up ramen noodles,
Mhm.
and it involves brown sugar, peanut butter,
Mm.
what else? Soy sauce, sriracha. It was okay. My wife was not impressed.
My wife
Yeah, I
and I
did not.
made pad thai once, like straight out of the cookbook, and I was shocked to learn that there's like a bucket of sugar in pad thai, like
Yeah, I didn't know that.
an insane amount of sugar that you would
Huh.
never eat if you knew it was in there.
Yeah.
I mean, like it was more than a pint glass of sugar
Oh wow.
in the serving.
And it's all starch anyway.
Yeah, which turns into sugar.
That's why it's so good.
It
Yeah,
is.
Sugar
It's
and carbs.
delicious.
it is. It's- I'm gonna cook some ribs today for Mother's Day, I believe.
So, David, I hear you're in a band.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just got back.
You did. You did. So anybody watching, since we're terrible at doing introductions, we just usually jump in and stuff. Welcome, David Silver from Season of Risk, everybody. Stoked about this new record.
Yeah.
I've been listening to it all morning. I almost was late today just because I'm just jamming to it. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is homework. I've got to
That's
get
cool.
back to the show.
Do you have a favorite song?
So far, a couple. I like Glass Parade because of the Vox and stuff are all weird in it. And I just like all the songs that you took risks on that were, a little different, and which is great about Season of Risk. You guys that have always, you can come up with a sound that's a unique sound to your band, but not afraid to play with different things. Not afraid to bring some swing and funk into it, which I need in my hard music. If it's too techy and stuff, it just doesn't do anything for me. But yeah, I like that one so far. And the 1-800 Meltdown, just title track too, with the freaky like a dial tone, mixes in there and stuff is really cool.
You like the weird stuff. I
like the
heard
weird
it
stuff.
a bunch from people that Glass Parade is one of their favorites, and I'm so surprised because that is such a strange song. We did it for some comp quite a while ago, and just getting experimental. And yeah, the 1-800 thing is actually like 90 minutes long.
Okay.
We were basically in West End studio, and at the time, Paul Malinowski and Dwayne Trower both worked out of there fairly often, and it was a night where we were unsupervised. The owner was not there. I think Paul Malinowski was working, and we had tape to record onto. They had loaner reels, so we just started playing with that beat, and then a friend came by the studio and started prank phone calling people like Billy Smith, and I think Billy got multiple calls, and so he's actually the first voice on side B that you hear say hello.
Oh, okay.
Also on the end of side B, like an hour later, we were calling and annoying the hell out of him.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Josh, everyone is from Shiner.
Billy and
Bill.
We were calling Billy Smith, who was our bass player until recently, and is one of the founders of Roman numerals with Steve. And then also, Josh was in the studio with us. Josh is now playing guitar in Shiner since '96. Prior to that, he was also our bass player. and as was obviously Malinowski. And yeah, Josh was playing bass, but also messing with the phone, and we were all just using the board as an instrument. So pushing channels to like make it distort or to making things malfunction, and using all the buttons to almost like you would tone sweep on a synthesizer or something.
Right, like circuit bent.
Yeah, we just short segments out of that to show that we do that stuff also.
That was when doing something similar is when I got kicked out of that radio station that you worked at in West Plains, Matt. Because you guys had ordered, the owner had ordered like that bizarrely huge synthesizer. I don't know what it was. It had samples and everything on it. But I was back there with another DJ, and he was like, I don't know why we bought this thing. It's crazy expensive. Nobody here knows how to use it, and it's a small radio station. So, we're back there like putting together clips of like sounds of like chainsaws and women moaning and having a good old time. And I usually came in and visit like late at night. Nobody was there anyway. But yeah, boss happened to show up right then. And just put it on automation.
And you were just
I didn't work there.
You weren't fired. You were just kicked out. Right?
Yeah, I was just kicked out. Yeah. I'd visit a lot.
So Paul producing, is that Paul's producing?
Paul Malinowski?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's playing bass in China, of course, still. They have a new album that's about to come out, which rules again.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, of course, he is a producer nowadays he works at Massive Sound. And he's done a ton of records in the last few years. He also did live sound for Failure on that live DVD, and it sounds incredible.
No, I haven't seen that yet.
He gets some of the best drum sounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And yours are great here. I mean, you guys aren't slowing down, that's for sure.
No,
right off the bat. But yeah, the drums sound really crunchy on this one.
Yeah, on Echo Chamber, it's a really nice, brand new recording. We just did that less than a year ago at Dwayne's studio, which is Weights and Measures Sound Lab right in Kansas City. That has a nice, really clean drum recording, similar to the Shattering production.
Yeah.
Which was Bill Stevenson and Jason Livermore at the Blasting Room in Fort Collins.
Yeah.
But some of the drum sounds are intentionally sort of destroyed on some of the songs it's all about like different textures, right? And so this is kind of the most noisy collection of songs we've ever done.
Yeah.
To just intentionally, after the Shattering, which is kind of melodic and very clean production, to just sort of pivot back around to noise rock, which is sort of having a moment right now. There's these noise rock bands suddenly, 40 years later, there's a new wave of noise rock happening.
Mm-hmm.
Chat Pile are playing stadiums, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that's nuts.
And, there's a lot of noise elements happening in some of the popular music right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Mets was another example of a really classic noise rock.
Yeah. I like Mets.
Yeah, we went up to the Caterwaul showcase there in Minnesota. I don't know if you guys have...
Yeah.
Well, I think you'd be a great fit, though.
Yeah,
but
I talked to Conan about possibly 2026. But
awesome.
Steve is doing Caterwaul with Violentier. This
nice.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that.
I don't know if I've even seen a full lineup, honestly.
It's happening.
Yeah. Right on.
Soon.
Yeah.
Right. We love Conan. just what he does there to get that together is just kind of, it's nothing short of amazing.
It's a big
And
deal.
the vibe, if you've ever been, it's just like the best vibe while you're there.
Yeah, it's a cool festival. I'm looking forward to playing it, and I mean the lineups have been really good.
Yeah, we were last year. We were there, and
I see that poster.
yeah, I've got one in here too, but it's on the other wall. You don't want to see some of the things that are written on the poster.
We're drawn, yeah. We should, yeah. I don't have to blur the background though. This is not a family show. I don't know. It depends on your family, I guess. But yeah, the first music, and I guess so. This is like the first music for Season Rest 25 years. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, the song "Sick with It" is actually from 2008. They did it on a compilation on Dandercroft Records, I believe. It was at a time where, from 2001 on, I moved back east where I am now, and I started going to Kansas City once a year or so to do something with the band. But at times they would get an offer that I just couldn't say yes to, like a show or a short tour or something where, I was stuck with my day job or something else going on. So either Jason Gherkin or Chris Metcalf jumped in and played the show. And in this case, they got asked to do a comp track, and they had been playing with Chris for a while. So he ended up playing drums on that. And then the other track on this record with another drummer is The End All, which has Gherkin, and that's from that Casey Misery comp from 1994 that Steve put together 9 million years ago.
Yeah. But great and still outstanding. Yeah, just, and thank you for that. Just representing our state here. This seems flown over and ignored.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Kansas City rules the world.
It does.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's such a huge influence originating from Kansas City that people don't even realize that, before beards happened in Brooklyn, they happened in Kansas City. Before roasteries were all across the country, Broadway Cafe ran Starbucks out of town.
I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, out of Westport anyway.
Yeah. And, Dave Gomez, sound guy from Kansas City, self-taught in his basement, did sound locally, is now doing sound for Sasanta, Maynard Keenan's birthday, with Tool and Primus, and he did Jane's Addiction's last tour, and Jimmy Eats World, and just like top of the top of sound. So, and yeah, Malinowski and also Dwayne is producing stuff like Radkey, like really big bands and important music happening.
Very much so. Well, and when you look at that attitude that people used to have about, a band having to be from California or be from somewhere cool, most of those guys came from somewhere else anyway and moved there, like Ohio or, they were from Kentucky or whatever. So, yeah. But do you think that there's still, though, is something to a Midwest sound, or can you, I don't know, maybe a Mississippi River sound or Missouri River sound?
I don't know.
You might get
I was
from
actually thinking about this recently. Like, you think of a band like Jesus Lizard, they very much embrace the fact that they're from Texas, and they kind of put elements of that into their noise rock. Right. I mean, they were definitely. I think it's pretty evident that David Yao was really, let's say, influenced by Birthday Party and Nick Cave. That was really what the origin was of them. But they had Texas in their music. And I was thinking that on our new album, which we're working on now, we have another recording session coming up in 2 months. We have done a few so far. We should maybe seriously think about doing like Charlie Parker or something to really connect to the roots of Missouri sound, because no one's really done that from town. I think it would be kind of cool to maybe reflect it. I'm not sure how that would manifest in Season Risk, because we say we're going to do something, but then when we actually do it, it ends up being like some sort of synthesizer freak out. But
I don't know. You guys
still have to like
cover talking heads.
You have to like conceptualize what the thing is that you're going to do before you go in, and then what actually happens. The five of us are always pretty opinionated, and we're also very like trying to do something different. Some bands will write a song like, this is our Chavez song, or this is our Swerve Driver song, or this is our sounds like something, which will definitely please the audience. More often than not, me and Dwayne were just talking about that. We're writing songs to entertain ourselves that we only realize later could be extremely repellent to an audience. Listen to Broken Arm. Jesus Christ, that song. That's a very small sub genre of people who are going to want to sit and listen to that. But we don't even think about it or realize it at the time, and then we go back and listen and we're like, geez, that is harsh.
And, but isn't that kind of what keeps you coming back too?
I mean, for me, it is. And also, we're often writing new parts. Like I'm always trying to come up with a beat that I haven't heard anyone else do before, and also that I'm like right at the limit of being capable of playing. And then we go back years later and we have to like relearn songs to like mix up our set, and it's like we've played a prank on ourselves, because you're like, first of all, why did I make this so difficult? And two, how the hell does this go? Like, I don't know if I can do this, but we usually figure it out.
Any particular songs that you're like, I hate, 25-year-old me right now?
55-year-old me definitely struggled with our set that we just played for the last 2 weeks, which is, all high tempo, fast. But those are the best songs. We were shocked. We started playing Mine Eyes again recently, just because it's been a long time since we've played it. And it's so slow. It's such like a relief. I can like catch my breath during that song, because it's just like a normal human tempo to play for 4 minutes.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of songs too. I go back to, well, if it's a song I haven't heard in forever, like an old thrash song or something like that comes up in my feed. And I'm like, wow, I mean, my brain really took this over as being much more hardcore than it really ever was. Probably just because I was so full of adrenaline and everything.
I think, music's evolved, since we were that age too. I mean, when I was 13, AC/DC was as heavy as it got, and now that's like pop.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And if you sit and listen to the drums, it's like, it sounds so heavy in the context of the riffs, because Malcolm Young is such a genius that he just like lays down this pocket where it feels heavy. But if you actually listen, Phil Rudd, the thud, is going, you're like, wait, that's not that. It's really not that heavy in the context of music that's happened in the last 5 years. But there's been a great upswell of hardcore music again, like Off coming back suddenly. But also like the stuff like Dead Cross were doing. Did you listen to that
Mhm.
record?
We had Justin Pearson on.
On the
Oh,
show,
you
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Man, I
Yeah.
love those records. A bunch of people started sending it to me like, hey, have you heard this band? It reminds me of your old band, Earshot. Not the Tool ripoff band, but I had a band on Cape Cod, in my high school years and just afterwards that were like a prog post-hardcore thing. And there's some similarity. But yeah, I love that record. Those two Dead Cross records. And there's just such great music happening right now if you're paying attention to.
Oh yeah, man. Local stuff. There's some pretty amazing stuff happening right now. I think John and I are both real high on the new Godzillionaire. If you,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm psyched to play with them and Rad Key in the end of June. Not far from you guys. Maybe we're playing in Emporia, Kansas, June
Oh yeah. That's not too bad.
28th. So
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Godzillionaire, Season Risk, Rad Key, Panhead 87, and I need to say the other band because I have to not be a jerk. What is the other band playing that night? It's White Line Nightmares, who I haven't heard yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I
I
don't
follow
think I
them
know
on
that.
Facebook, just a little bit of them.
But
Not much.
I'm psyched to see Godzillionaire again because God, they're just so good, and I haven't seen Radke live yet.
Really? Oh, they're good. Yeah.
I live out of town, so we almost booked a show with them previously, but it just didn't work out. But yeah, we're finally gonna do it, so I'm psyched. Yeah, and they just did some dates with the Damned, and they did that Foo Fighters run. I'm glad they're
Mm-hmm.
recognition. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
I'm
no
proud of
shortage
those
of great
guys.
bands in Kansas City always. Boys Life just had that big retrospective come out, and the Get Up Kids just did a big successful tour. Reggie is doing like a all piano version of his hits tour right now, like a solo one man band thing.
Huh.
He's hilarious.
So how many more dates do you have coming up this summer? What do you?
We've just got that one June 28th show. It's a private party for a fan. And whenever we get one of those, if it works, we take it because then we can do like 4 days in the studio and work on this new record. And then in the fall, we haven't booked it yet, but we have a release coming, which we haven't announced yet. So I can't say, but in the fall, we have another reissue happening, put it that way. And we're going to try to do a West Coast run because we hadn't played New York in a long time. So we finally made it there and played a fantastic club called TVI in Brooklyn, one of the best clubs acoustically that I've ever been in. And then we're going to do the West Coast again for the same reason. It's been too long.
Well,
And our
be
goal is
careful.
to try to do something every 6 months.
Be careful on the road. I went to your band's website, which I've not done, checked out the bio on some of the harrowing car accidents and things that you've had over the years.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Before my time, there was one incident where I forget who the sound guy I think was driving.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Oh my God, look, a tire. That looks like our tire."
Oh jeez.
Yep, the tire fell off. And then we've gone through. We went through multiple vans. The engine just blew. And then our van called the Cannon Kip because that's what it was called up on the topper. We were driving in Minnesota in January on a really windy day, and we hit a patch of black ice, went under a bridge, and when we came out from under the bridge, the wind and black ice pushed the front end, and we were doing 360s on the highway. And then went over on the side and slid like a toboggan into the median. And I happened to be filming because I'm always filming because I'm a vidiot. And so there's a video of that on YouTube.
Is there?
Oh, wow.
Wow. Okay, well,
Check
yeah,
that
I'm
out.
gonna have to check that out for sure. But yeah,
Then we got-
lucky you didn't get killed by equipment.
Then we got yeah. That was the worst thing is when the van went down, like the couch, which at the time unfortunately wasn't bolted down because we had just been changing stuff, came loose and all the gear went flying. And yeah, that base cabinet could absolutely have brained any one of us. I broke the windshield with my face, but I didn't get hurt.
Wow.
Showed that windshield what's up. And then we replaced that. A year later, we were on tour with the band Craw from Cleveland. Awesome math rock band. Good friends of ours. And they were like, every time you turn left, your bumper moves 6 inches to the left. And we were like, what? And we looked, and the frame was broken clean in half.
Oh my God.
So we got an extra year out of that. We eventually abandoned it somewhere in Kansas City. And a while after that, we saw some people driving it around and living in it.
Wow.
But we replaced that van with a 22-foot RV called the Discoverer, which is a sort of rare 1970s RV made by Rectrans, a short-lived band. It was very cool, all one piece of fiberglass, aerodynamic shaped thing designed by Larry Shinoda, who designed the Corvette Stingray. And we bought it from American Gladiator Gold, who lives right outside of Kansas City. Her family owned this thing. But unfortunately, one of the design flaws of that vehicle is that the brakes don't work.
Yeah, those are kind of
got
important.
like 5 brake jobs and they all failed because it's just the parts when they go in just are not adequate for the weight of the vehicle, especially when you put a whole band inside with all the gear, mountain bikes and stuff. So we basically drove around for the entire year of 1998 in that thing with various versions of brake failures and started having engine trouble and had to start it every day by taking the doghouse off and blowing carb cleaner into the carb, lighting it on fire, getting a big fireball burned off my eyebrows, and then good to go. So yeah. It's
I
a
had
labor
to do
of
that.
love, and it's definitely death-defying half of the time. In Seattle, in that RV, you know, sometimes people are like, you guys can stay with me. I have beds, I have guest rooms, whatever. And we're like, oh, cool. We'll save on renting a place. So we'll take up that offer. And Seattle has a lot of really steep hills. And so we're like going to this house where we're supposed to sleep, and the RV starts rolling backwards and the brakes are gone.
Oh God.
And it's like
That's
Seattle,
terrifying.
like many blocks long hill. But fortunately, we were saved by rolling backwards at full speed into a small sapling, which bent enough to catch and act like a
Wile E. Coyote.
Us. We got hung up on that sapling, and yeah, it's a labor of love. You know, it's expensive, it's difficult, it's sometimes a break-even situation, but we have no choice. We want to make music, and we make challenging, unpopular music at times. So it's not lucrative. We could write, obvious riffs that would be more successful immediately, but I don't know if we could actually convince Dwayne Trower to do that. It's really
there's plenty of that.
Yeah.
We don't need more
It's
of that.
already been done. So much of that has already been done. So
Did you see they were parting out the Melvin's van or something like that?
that's great.
I guess they're going to like disassemble it and like parts are going to museums. I don't know exactly what's happening to it,
That's a very cool idea.
Maybe I can afford a lug nut or something. Wear it as a necklace.
Did you ever see that American Pickers episode where they found the original Aerosmith van?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that was
That's
nuts.
cool. They were from my area where I grew up. When they were a young band, they used to rehearse down the street from where I grew up. So I was super into them because they were like my local band.
Wow. Cool. You could hear them practicing and everything.
I never did, but
you never did?
I heard people talk about it. But
so speaking of which, and making the music more accessible to people, what's the best way to get out there for us to help you sling some records? Is Bandcamp usually the best go-to?
Yeah, so our label is Init Records, INIT, out of Minneapolis, and right now they have the album available digitally. And then the physical vinyl, you can find copies from record stores directly on Discogs.
Okay. All right.
There's also something called Record Store Day Marketplace, but it has all the vowels removed, so it's like RS,
RCR,
or something. And that is a cool store alternative to Discogs because you can buy directly from record stores that supported the Record Store Day event.
Now you have some selling here in KC.
I think they all sold out.
Did they all sell out?
Yeah, we sold out all of our merch. We did a print run of 1,000 and they got requests for more than that. So the whole thing sold out really quick. We actually ran out of t-shirts halfway through our tour like a bunch of knuckleheads because we had a lot, but in the first 3 days we sold so much stuff that we were screwed. And so we were down to like selling our last like cassette tape and just only vinyl by the end of the tour.
Good problem to have, I guess.
Yeah. I was stoked that we sold the Kozik shirts that we made because, the Frank Kozik design of the first album actually has like amazing colors to it, but Sony failed to reproduce the colors. They ended up using like a much more subdued palette of colors, and it was never correct, and it really bummed the band out. And there's this new technology, direct to garment printing, where you can print colors that you could just never do with silk screening. It would be like 50 screens to make this shirt properly. So we did a run of black and white tees with the proper colored Kozik art on it for the first time, and that's what we were selling. And we also did a shirt with Bifocal Media. Do you know those guys?
Oh, yeah, Hazelmeyer.
Hazelmeyer is doing a lot of designs.
Yeah, I got their Cows hoodie and a couple other ones. Yeah.
They reached out to us at the beginning of this year and did their artist, Evil J, is actually in Tokyo, and he did a German Shepherd barking like this hostile image that we also had some of those, and those sold out really quickly. But you can still get that shirt on Bifocal Media.
On Bifocal. Okay. All right. Yeah, I plug him all the time. Should hit him up for something.
Yeah, I think it's great what they're doing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, that's where you can get our stuff. And we'll be making more, my whole thing is I believe everyone is sick of the cloud. I think we're all sick of like this nebulous, like intangible cloud where you're supposed to have all your stuff. And, we see it because everyone's buying vinyl, but they're also buying like cassettes. One of my other bands is making an 8-track tape right now. Lathe cuts have become popular, even though, it's one song for $40 or $50, just because I think people want a tangible way to connect to the artist.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so,
Yeah, I got like a turntable right there, and just reintegrated CD player into my system.
yeah, CDs. I'm so glad I hung on to mine. I'm back into being cool again because I have 9 billion CDs in my basement. That I was like, should I sell all of these for $3 each, or just throw them in a landfill, or digitize them all? I've just been playing them, and now all of a sudden they're back. But yeah, point being, we're trying to invest in making cool merch and make stuff that people actually want, instead of doing the like 1 or 2 color print t-shirt where it's inexpensive for us and it's kind of like okay and adequate, but we're trying to make like really interesting merch instead, to give people something that's a little bit more on par with the weird music we like to make.
Something more unique.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'll have to check out those hoodies and stuff. And yeah, boy, I really want a record as well. So hopefully I'll find one.
Record? The vinyl?
Yeah.
Oh, go on Discogs. You can get it on a good deal on.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna do that. But yeah, everybody check out this record, 1-800-Meltdown. Amazing first music in a very long time, but from a very consistent bunch of fellows here from Kansas City, Missouri. David, thanks for coming on and sharing stories.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, great to meet you both. Please go to Bangkok Gardens for me.
Okay, I will. All right. Yeah, I'll post your pictures there of a wall of flame.
I don't know if we've someone when we did it at the time, like Flea was on there. The guys from Fugazi were on there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, crazy!
A lot of bands do it, but it's been a while, so we're probably I think it's a dry erase board, so we're probably not there.
All right. Well, when you're in KC sometime, I'll make you my peanut butter ramen.
Yes,
it's a real treat.
Sounds good. I'd eat the hell out of that. Well, thanks, I really appreciate it, and thanks for supporting the band and the record.
Absolutely, man. We're happy to do it, and thanks for joining us.
Yes. And see you out there, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, hang on. Do not disconnect yet. Matt's gonna
let me hit stop,
and it's got to upload it. Just